Liquid's turn to ban. Team Secret's turn to ban.
And we're back, everybody. Time now for our next match of today here on the secondary stream for
Team
Star
Liquid's
Ladder
turn to
I-League
ban.
Star Series. It's Team Liquid versus Team Secret. I'm GoDz. Joining me is Scant. This is a pretty hype matchup.
Yeah, it's a big match. It's definitely two teams in close contention for the top spot in the group, which we know is a big deal. It's a bigger deal than just top 3, goes straight to the
10
semi-final.
seconds remaining.
The main thing I want to see in this draft actually is do Secret ban the Tusk? Because I know people have started banning the Earth Spirit.
Team
Jerax has actually
Secret's
he's played
turn
27
to
games in this
ban.
patch, and 25 of them have been either Tusk or Earth Spirit. So I just feel like there's a point at which you got to say, like, make the guy play something else. People like to ban Razor and all sorts of other heroes against Liquid too, but honestly, like, if a player's played the same two heroes
10
that many
seconds
times, like,
remaining.
That to me was one of the things, like, looking at, I
5
watched
seconds
Castle of the
remaining.
European Games during the major qualifiers, and people, it was his Earth Spirit was so talked about. Like, he was he was 6-0, I think, on the Earth Spirit. The hero itself was 7-0 in Europe, and everyone's like,
Team
oh, Jerax Earth
Liquid's
Spirit, like, you
turn
just
to
go ban
pick.
it. But like you say, he'd do just as well in Tusk. So I feel like banning the Earth Spirit and giving him Tusk, all of the time it's like, well, what have you really accomplished? You may as well just let both in the pool and get an extra ban out of it.
yeah,
So
it's like people have decided that Earth Spirit is like less of a known quantity. I guess they're more used to the Tusk, and less the first pick Tusk. It's
Team
completely standard for Liquid at this
Secret's
point.
turn
They're
to
first picking Tusk or Earth Spirit unless you ban both.
Yeah.
Every game.
So, I mean, for Secret, I guess they decide, I mean, that's basically them saying we'd rather verse Tusk than Earth Spirit, since you got to know that they're going to pick that for Jerax when it's still left in the pool. So, we'll see what the response is going to be from Team Secret. Is Puppy drafting against Kuro. That's going to be something, it's a story in itself here in some ways. These two know each other very
10
well,
seconds
have played
remaining.
side by side for a long time and against each other for long periods of
5
time as well.
seconds
But
remaining.
one of the cooler bromances, I would say, in the Dota scene. These two guys still good friends, I
Reserve
want to
time.
say.
Definitely, and both of these teams, I think it's their second game of the tournament. They both won the first game, but neither one of their victories was like completely convincing. Like, definitely in control all the
Team
time.
Secret's
Team
turn
Secret
to
start with
pick.
the Vengeful Spirit, which, by the way, I mean, if you look at Western like Behemoth teams, you usually talk about Secret and EG, and every game I've seen Secret and every game I've seen EG in this tournament, they've first picked Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, it's been first banned a few games as well from what I've been seeing. So it seems to be one of those picks which is just going to be hotly contested in this tournament for now until teams start using it, and then maybe it loses a few games here or there.
And it's
10
really interesting that
seconds
some teams use it
remaining.
as support, some teams use it as carry, and some teams use it as both. It's just kind of
5
everywhere.
seconds remaining.
Both these teams currently 1-0. Did you catch the Liquid previous game that they just won
Reserve time.
now? It was being cast on the second stream. LD and Lumi mentioned a little bit about it. Kuro played Chen.
Yeah.
He got like a really early kill like on Limp and stuff. But
Solo kill with the creep, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard, I mean, we were watching a bit, like, in between panel bits, we were, like, checking on the laptop and that, and it looked like the kill score was roughly even all the way to the end, but Liquid were mostly ahead, and they had a Chen, they had kind of pushing elements, and eventually won.
As for Secret, their first win, far from convincing, but it was against virtus.pro. It was the big comeback with Naga Siren. This time around, Darkseer going to be
Team
the
Liquid's
opening
turn to
partner for
pick.
the Vengeful Spirit, and we'll see what Liquid get retaliation for this one. I feel almost in some ways this is always like a block pick against Mind Control as well.
Definitely. I think it's Mind Control's best hero. I think that Liquid have shown that they like to do Darkseer with Tusk as an aggressive dual lane, so both. It's also just a prioritized off lane in the current meta. Has been for quite some time, especially since the patch came out, but even before this patch. So
10
get the
seconds
Darkseer
remaining.
early on, and part of me also thinks that maybe
5
it like in
seconds
some
remaining.
kind of like faraway land sets up for that Ember Spirit pick, because I've been wondering if Secret are still going to run Ember Spirits in this new patch.
Team
There are other
Liquid's
teams
turn
playing it.
to
The first two
ban.
games I watched today were both won by Ember Spirits. People said when the patch came out the hero's nerfed. I don't know what your feeling is. I feel like the nerf is really not that big. The hero's still good, and especially because it can like fight the early push and then still scale and win the late game.
Yeah, I
10
definitely think
seconds
the
remaining.
hero works just fine. Like I don't think it's fallen off at all with the
5
changes. So
seconds remaining.
It's not great in lane against DP, but the Secret don't really run if they pick Ember safe lane. Probably,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Reserve time.
And it just, I mean, Envy perhaps the best Ember Spirit player out there. Like
I think he is.
I don't think anyone matches up to him. I mean, there's a few players who may be close.
Yeah.
Speaking of one, maybe himself, but the way he just min-maxes with that hero, gets every little bit of extra farm on the map, pushes the hero to the limits, is really unmatched right now.
That's why I want to see them pick it, because like Envy is like one of the best carry players in the world. He is the best Ember Spirit in the world, I think.
Team
And if we think the hero's still
Secrets
good, then
turn
so the last patch, that was kind of the approach. It was like every game, if we can get Ember, we just get it. And I guess they don't need to prioritize it now because other people aren't ready, but I would like to see it. That or we were talking earlier on the panel about this. I wouldn't mind seeing
10
a
seconds
Terrorblade either
remaining.
from Envy, because you know he used to be like a massive Terrorblade spammer,
5
played it all the
seconds
time.
remaining.
The hero got nerfed and he was like really depressed. We can't pick that hero anymore. But Terrorblade's coming back, especially in
Reserve
China.
time.
So these are probably the two heroes that I would really like to see Eternal Envy play.
Bans come out. Bounty Hunter
Team
banned out
Liquid's
against Pylite
turn
Die,
to
liking
ban.
getting banned out against Team Liquid, and it seems as much as Fartz's Razor is a scary threat, they lean sometimes towards the Death Prophet more, and especially on that Radiant side. I think the Razor is something they feel just fits better with the dire side. The jungle is a
10
lot better to
seconds
farm,
remaining.
and I mean, Matama Man did his like clowny little impression of Farta where he's just like, he loves to go back to the
5
jungle, like, look at me,
seconds
I'm farming
remaining.
creeps, I'm suddenly like maxed out. Like, he spends so much more time in the jungle than like any other Razor player out
Reserve
there, like
time.
using just his ultimate and plasma field to farm as many camps as once.
Yeah, but also, yeah, I think Death Prophet is, if I had to say this early on in the patch, the most likely hero to be nerfed in the next patch. It's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of really strong heroes, but in terms of heroes which are strong in a way that you expect a change to be made, I look at DP. I just think she's, yeah, they just made her so much stronger. Like, maybe the one thing that's weak about her now is her level 1 exorcism before you get to level 2 ulti, but yeah, I mean, her nuke's still what it was. She still got all the things the Witchcraft gave, essentially, and the
Team
Spirit Siphon is
Secrets
just like
turn to
completely
ban.
absurd.
And she scales so well into the late game, it's the crazy thing, with largely because of the Siphon, so. Ban onto the Spectre comes next from Team Liquid, and see what the last ban's going to be as Secret go into the second pick stage with their
10
selection first.
seconds
And
remaining.
very open draft. The Venge, which can be run as a support
5
as well as in that
seconds remaining.
core role. Although I imagine with like the Darkseer offlane, not really a hero who's going to scale as a carry, you're probably more
Reserve
likely
time.
looking at something like a Puppy or a Pylai Die Venge.
I wonder if Liquid are setting up for Nature's Prophet for mind control. I know it's one of the heroes he likes to play, and Spectre and Bounty Hunter are both heroes that are quite good against the Nature's Prophet. Maybe it's just in my head because I was
Team
just over there
Secrets
discussing the
turn
Alliance
to
game,
pick.
but I know it is, I mean, mind control's been denied his Darkseer as well, so kind of adds up for me that they might go for it. Also, obviously, it's just a good hero in the current meta, fits with the kind of pushing plan people usually go for.
Yeah. It's really, and it's hard to know if that's going to be the plan Secret go for. We've seen their one game so far at this tournament on the new patch outside of WCA, what they played. They went for the Naga Siren, something more late game oriented.
10 seconds remaining.
Against the Death Prophet, that didn't scare them last time from going from the late game Naga Siren. Not to say
5
they're going to,
seconds remaining.
looking at it right away, well, they're definitely not now because they pick up
Team
Lone Druid, which
Liquid's
is,
turn
I
to
believe,
pick.
going to be for Envy in the safe lane.
Yeah, it should be. It is a hero that he's played before in the past, and I think he'll be pretty good at it. Like, Lone Druid's a hero that I think benefits quite a lot from thinking very carefully about how to optimize your item build and item progression, and Eternal Envy is kind of known for doing that very well. So I think it's quite a good fit. Look back towards Liquid, they've got a support and a mid, so they could pick for essentially any role
seconds
right
remaining.
now.
Oh, there's a great answer to the Lone
Team
Druid and
Secrets
And the
turn
Darkseer.
to
Darkseer,
pick.
yeah.
Like, you've got Disarm for the Bear, you've got the Purge against the Darkseer. And the Purge also important because that mid-game Bear with Iron Shell on it is just brutal. So you just throw a Purge out, you take the Iron Shell off, you slow it down, and then you can disarm it as well if you want to. So this seems like a really good pick. And now you've got your support duo that makes your Death Prophet invincible. Like, your Exorcism going off, you can't... Traditionally in the past, the answer to a Death Prophet Exorcism is to have
10
enough burst damage that
seconds
if she's going for pushing your high ground, you burst her down, Exorcism gone. But with Oracle and Tusk in the
5
picture, that just
seconds
doesn't
remaining.
really seem like a feasible answer for Team Secret. At least not something they can rely on.
Yeah, I think Oracle is a great pick
Reserve
there.
time.
Counters the enemy heroes and, as you say, synergizes with Liquid's heroes. But at the same time, it's so strange. I feel like I've seen Oracles only lose today. I can't
Really?
be sure about
Okay.
that, but I mean, I don't feel like it's been the Oracle's fault. But it just keeps happening. I think I've seen 3 Oracles, and I think they've all lost.
There was the game, there was an Oracle pick, and it was like against Darkseer and Ember, and it still lost that game.
Yeah,
but it
lost that one.
That was, which game was that? That was
I think that was Navi vs Fnatic.
Yeah, that was the game where it felt like it I mean, that game I don't feel like was too much on the draft because they had the was it? They like went full commitment onto the Death Prophet with Omni Knight here, with Tusk, as well as like Oracle, all these
seconds
protective
remaining.
supports for it.
And then it also lost. EG had Oracle against
5
LGD.
seconds remaining.
I
And
did not catch
LGD,
that game.
yeah. Although the Oracle, PBD made a lot of big plays with Oracle in
Team
that game,
Liquid's
so
turn to pick.
Secret pick up Mirana. Is that support Mirana? Is that
It's probably a support.
Kinda needs to be, doesn't it?
I mean, Puppy used to play this a bit, I
did.
want to say.
Yes, he
yeah,
did,
if you
yeah.
go way back. I'm not sure if that means it's going to be Puppy here or Pile Die on the hero, since it's kind of that roaming support in some ways, which maybe suits Pile Die, but Pi also can play a very capable Vengeful Spirit.
He's
so.
I see Pi on the bench because Pi's got to be the hero that's gonna feed and like
yeah,
10 seconds
Puppy's like, I'm not
remaining.
tarnishing my KDA.
yeah.
You take that one, Pi.
So I would say Puppy Mirana,
5
and unless they
seconds
do something
remaining.
really funky and Misery plays Mirana and Puppy's like Darkseer or something, but because Misery actually has played offlane
Reserve
Mirana
time.
before. I think he played it once fairly recently, and
He used to
then
love-
many times back in the
I think
fi-
if you look at like top Mirana players, he's going to be one of the players who's played it more than anyone.
Yeah, he was playing Mirana in Dota 1. He was like one of the original Mirana players. So that's a direction that they could go. And it's something that actually happened in the... I didn't catch that much of it, but I watched some highlights and people were telling me Navi beats Alliance when S4 was Death Prophet mid and he kept getting ganked by Chen. And I feel like Mirana could have a similar effect. Like, if the Death Prophet's just like permanently being
Team
pressured,
Secrets
even if you're not hitting the
turn to
arrows,
ban.
like just shut down the early game of the Death Prophet can be a big deal. So maybe that's what the Mirana pick's about.
You mentioned Ember's still strong. It's going to be Liquid who pick it up for themselves in the safe lane to go with the Oracle. Matumba Man, he's played a lot of games on, especially on the
10
6.85
seconds
patch.
remaining.
So
Yeah, we can't all be the best Ember Spirit in the world, but he's certainly one of them. You know,
5
he's up there,
seconds remaining.
and he knows what to do with the hero.
Team Liquid's
last ban
turn
onto
to ban.
Nyx. No mind control hero picked up just yet, and a hero that can lane very well against the
Team
Darkseer and just match up well
Secret's
against
turn
him.
to pick.
Could ban the Gyrocopter. Where are they expecting Gyrocopter?
I guess they're expecting Lone Druid mid for that. Like a Lone Druid mid, Darkseer off lane, and then
Oh, you
safe
know
lane
what?
pick up last.
We are actually does play Lone Druid. I thought something didn't add up. They both, Eternal Envy and we are both play Lone Druid and could definitely be mid. I think that we actually played quite a lot of Lone Druid in like in Balkan Bears or long ago before he was in this
10
team.
seconds remaining.
That's a good read. I didn't think of that before.
Yeah. But definitely Hero Envy can play as well, so I
5
don't feel like
seconds
we
remaining.
quite know where it's going to go. But with that, well, we can
Team
expect him mid,
Liquid's
since
turn to
Sven
pick.
has been picked up for Team Secret. Warcry to be able to fight a bit better into the Exorcism. Got some good burst damage from the God Strength, and it seems to be a hero that a lot of Death Prophet teams are actually banning out, like in later stages of the game, to avoid playing against.
Yeah, you don't want to fight into the Warcry, but also I think this makes the Mirana pick a lot better too, because Sven is such a good setup for Mirana Arrow. So you don't have to just be taking pot shots, like hoping you hit.
10
Can
seconds
get
remaining.
almost full length arrows set up by Sven stun, and that's usually a kill
5
early on.
seconds
So
remaining.
suddenly there's a lot of pressure on this pick for mind control. They don't have the hero yet, and Titans actually fits the bill because
Yep.
he's gonna have a way to deal with that arrow. At least he's gonna be able to like back and shell it off.
And even against like the Bear and the Sven, he can kind of shrug off a lot of their early game damage and has great sustain for this team. So I think this is a really good pick, and something that's a bit like underpicked maybe in the current patch. I think every time I see a Tide, I'm just like, whoa, this hero is actually ridiculously strong right now, and something that should maybe get played a bit more. Perhaps it's because it's like picked up so late that in games where it fits well that the hero does seem strong, but
Do you think the dynamic? I mean, I feel like most of the games I've watched in this tournament and even in this patch, there's like the one team is more kind of pushing, and the other team is more kind of late game. If we had to say, we'd say Secret's more kind of pushing, but I'm not sure if Liquid are clearly stronger than them in the late game. I think they are.
I mean, I
10
don't like how
seconds
like
remaining.
the heroes like Mirana are going to scale into the late game, and you're looking at Ember just with high
5
ground defense,
seconds
great mobility,
remaining.
Death Prophet who does scale well into the late game. So I think if you go too far into the late game, the Sven gets kited. I think it's that mid game where he's got like his Blink BKB data list, like he hits that timing and he's pretty good for a while, but if it keeps like dragging 50, 60, 70 minutes, then he
Prepare for
struggles.
battle.
Yeah, so I would agree that there's more pressure on Secret to do things early, but I don't think it's not cut and dry. Like if they miss their window, they're just screwed or something.
Early battle coming out between Mind Control and Pile I Die with the TPs up top, and Mind Control will be denied getting his ward down. He TP'd up there without any items, so he was looking for the fast ward and does get prevented.
It's super important. It's even more important than it was back when it was more popular to TP for that ward, because offlaning has become a lot more difficult. And wow, this is actually interesting. Smoke from Secret.
They're looking to raid the enemy jungle here, and if we get down a early ward or some first blood, and Kuro It's helped out by nice ice shots from Jerex, possibly saving his life there, although he does have 305 movement speed, so I don't think Sven would have been able to catch up to him for the Storm Bolt.
30 seconds to
Yeah,
battle.
Better safe than sorry.
And even though it doesn't matter, it's just there we go. We see straight away Jerax's ice shards. I mean, this guy, you gave him his tusk. He's gonna have like I don't think we should be surprised this game when he has a good ice shards. We should be surprised when he has a bad one.
Yeah, that's generally the case with this guy. Well, Secret going to secure top ring. They went for the early rotation. They don't get any wards down, and immediately Liquid put down the ward themselves to make sure they can secure that level 1 bounty rune or Death Prophet, which Fata will grab.
You
The
see,
battle
Misery's just starting in the
begins.
jungle, I think. Or he's looks like maybe he's considering going to the lane because when you're against Oracle, often Darks is just like. The game I watched earlier where LGD were against EG, that was actually the situation, and RTK just went straight to the jungle. He made some stacks, started farming.
I think something that Jerex does really well, he sometimes recognizes situations where if he starts in the safe lane and kind of tri-lanes the Tusk to find the early kill, he will do so. And that's, I guess, something Misery's respecting. That Tusk is down there, level 1 without Surge, you're done for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even if you have Surge, Oracle can control you, so it's just that hero that sets up the actual kill.
Uppy. Some neutraling, here we go. This is a nice little thing Mirana can do now. And just means you can be off the map, creating that scare of an arrow coming into one of the lanes, while also getting a bit of levels here. So he can even do this once again when this camp respawns if he really wants to be a bit more greedy, so...
Yeah, I mean, this is not the thing you see in pubs where people like jungle or Ancients Mirana. It's like, you're running around arrowing lanes, and in between you're just getting some value. That's really the purpose.
And he's gonna take one more big creep here as mid lane. We are taking quite a bit of damage from the Soul Siphon, gets forced back a bit more, and there we go. Puppy, he hits level 2. Like being level 2 1 minute in, now he can actually go to this off lane and use the leap as an escape spell since Darkseer is not sitting in this lane. So this just gives him that little bit of extra safe and secure experience. So in some ways this is kind of, at least for now, like an off-lane core Mirana, although I don't imagine it will stay that way.
I hit the small creep.
It's alright, he's got his clarity still going, he's getting max value out of that.
Yeah, if you think about like the psychology of a roaming Mirana, it makes so much sense to buff it the way that they did. Because before, if Mirana's off the map, you know she's trying to arrow you, and now like she might just be arrowing a creep. So it makes the gank potential a lot higher. The enemy team doesn't know. I mean, in this case, they're gonna know because Mirana's actually taking the off lane now.
Yeah, it looks like Kuro actually managed to leech that XP from the Dark Troll as well, making Puppy didn't quite get as much out of it as he would have liked. 2-minute rune coming up, and Kuro and Puppy, can't we just be friends again? Not happening. They bumped the rune, and we're gonna see who takes it. Kuroki was right. He gets the rune. Puppy runs right into the Roshan pit and will make his way back to lane.
Mid lane. So was this? Oh, Lone Druid's actually being gone on, and there's a DD on the top.
Yeah, the Soul Siphon will slow him down, and Weeha should be done for. One more right click. Yep, Death Prophet actually not needing the right click, getting it with the Soul Siphon.
That's
Spirit Siphon.
I mean, again, I want to say that's Jerex because that's something out of nothing. Like I did not see that coming. Like Weeha was standing far back with his hero. He had his Spirit Bear farming.
And he knows, like, typically he gets gone on there, he's going to be fine, but it's just the fact that that DD rune just gives him that little bit of extra, like 100 damage from the 2 right clicks, and suddenly he's found a kill.
And I think this is part of why they actually picked the Lone Druid. They picked it right at the start of the second phase. It was like, it's meant to be a hero that doesn't do that badly against the Death Prophet, because your hero can stand back, your bear can be up close, but if he's going to get early deaths, then that's a pretty big problem.
I think it's something you can't expect him to be able to survive the mid lane against a roaming Tusk. I think that's perhaps something Secret we're maybe trying to like adjust and play around, but so far Puppy, very kind of passive with his play on the Mirana. Not to say he's at fault here, but more just kind of commenting that he's not looking to apply pressure and help out that mid lane with the way he's been playing.
Yeah, it's... I mean, yeah, that's... If the mid lane's fine, then it makes sense that he's just getting that free value, but... As soon as the mid lane starts struggling, then it feels like, oh, well, he could have been doing more. And I mean, advantage Jerex at this point. And honestly, I don't think anyone's roaming anything is as good as his roaming Tusk is. So
is an Iron Talon coming out? Yeah, you betcha. Iron Talon Tidehunter. He wants to farm up some jungle. Puppy came in with a sentry, which could have blocked the camp and also allowed him to de-ward this Observer ward. He's going to arrow and steal some neutrals here, but Tide, he's back. He can stack this. He can start farming it with the Iron Talon. So I think he... I'm not sure if he tried to tango that or that was a misclick there on his part, but...
This is another good thing about the roaming Mirana actually, because offlaners are doing this more and more. Like, it's difficult to stay in the offlane, they go to that camp, and the Mirana can actually just very easily come interfere, steal your creeps, steal your XP, block your camp.
Soul Siphon, pretty useful against the Spirit Bear as well, it turns out. Misery's jungle time has not exactly been that fruitful here. He's only level 3.5 now.
Dire's bottom tower
We'll
is
be
under
about to hit level
attack.
4 of this camp and may look to start applying pressure on some of these lanes. He's grouping up both supports also here in the mid lane. This is looking like a clear smoke coming out from the 3 secret heroes. We'll have to see where they look to head. Possibly the Ember Spirit pre-level 6 could be a prime target for them.
Yeah, I'm concerned moving forward. I think it's important that Secret make successful plays like this because there's going to be a point where Eternal Envy wants to farm the jungle. You see he's like starting to level cleave very early on, and then Darkseid doesn't have that space, and Lone Druid, if he's behind, doesn't necessarily have that space. So they need to make some actual plays, and they go for the Ember Spirit right before he gets 6.
Gets off the Flame Guy, gets a bit of extra survivability because that Kuro goes in with a Purge, but Tupperman's still fairly tanky, Searing Chains, and should be out of here. Puppy able to lock him in place long enough with the Sacred Arrow, and Ember will be back to safety here and also getting closer and closer to the level 6. So important for him.
It's very difficult for them to kill him once he's level 6. I mean, if they can stand this, there's always ways to kill him, but let's say Oracle is standing behind Ember Spirits. It's near impossible for Ember Spirit to die then.
I was keeping an eye on Oracle before that gank because Kuro was like 1 creep XP from hitting level 4, which would have been the first point in Fate's Edict, which would have given Ember Spirit even more kind of invulnerability to that gank. You pop it on him if he's trying to run away, and you just block a lot of that magic damage coming out from Iron Shell and possibly even a magic missile if you're there in time. So even without that Fate's Edict, they didn't have any problem getting away.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me then the comparison becomes it's no, you know, at this point killing Ember Spirit early on is going to be very difficult. He's going to get free farm. Sven is also getting free farm. I think Sven's free farm is worth a lot more, especially if he's doing this like early farming build, taking the cleave, buying the Quelling Blade. He's probably going to clear through the jungle. Sven can actually get 1 item ahead of Ember Spirit. Eternal Envy just use God Strength just to push the wave.
Dang. He's got, yeah, I guess he wants to push the wave and then farm the neutral camp here. Farm it twice, so I guess maybe the God Strength to wear off before the second time, but efficiency plays,
Radiant's
I guess
top
you could
tower
say.
is
He's got
under
no one in
attack.
his lane, no opportunity to use it, so he says like, yeah, let's push the wave and farm some neutrals.
I wonder if he'll go for the... What I've seen before is when Svens go for this cleave build, sometimes the treads mask him out as blink, and you actually farm him almost anti-mage rate in the jungle. You just go nuts.
It sounds counterintuitive to blink with just 1 point in the stun, but like you say, you blink around from camp to camp, and Helm of the Dominator always kind of the other like obvious item to get when you've got the cleave build, because you want to be able to stack neutral camps, stack ancients, although ancient stacks so far have just been manually done by Team Secret.
Yeah, Helm of Dom is actually by far the more mainstream item on Sven these days. But for the super farm build, I think Mask Madness is a bit better. But...
Envy, they're going on him, they're TPing up the Death Prophet, and they want this kill. This is going to be a tough escape for him. TP's coming in from Team Secret. Arrow going to go flying. Do they dodge it with the snowball? Not sure that was the plan, but it worked out just fine. I don't even think they had vision of it coming in, and Liquid get a key kill on the Sven, and in a position where they could apply some pressure up top with Exorcism available. The double damage
Radiant
Death Prophet, the one
structures are
rotating in and
fortified.
causing that to happen. And Jerix immediately says, okay, Death Prophet TP'd up top, let's TP myself mid to make sure Lone Druid doesn't get any damage on this tower.
Envy bought a Helm of Iron Will as he was dying, so it will be the Helm of Dom build for him this game, which is, I think, the mostly standard Sven build these days.
It's 1 kill into the Sven, and Ember Spirit meanwhile going untouched at bottom, has maxed out the Flame Guard now. Hero, you've always got to be worried about rotating to these other lanes now as well. It's not just, and that's the thing, like Liquid, you try and go somewhere on the map, you've got a Death Prophet, you've got an Ember Spirit, 2 heroes who can very easily rotate and make those kind of gank plays.
And look at Envy, ulting into the jungle again,
Dire's
just like...
middle tower
On the
is under
Sven.
attack.
Oh wow, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it just makes perfect sense. Like, now that I see it, I'm like, why do Svens not all just do this? Spam the ulti
It's
and
the
pop?
same thing when it was like Arteezy and Envy used to, like when we see Fatu now, where you spam the Razor ultimate on the
Yeah.
jungle. It's like, of course, like this is an ultimate that increases your farm rate. You're also not, you're using it maybe
Dire's bottom
like once in the
tower is
first
under
15 to
attack.
20 minutes of the game for a fight typically, so why not just spam it and power jungle?
Yeah, makes good sense. So, Envy, as we know him, not going to make
Dire's
any,
middle
like...
tower is under
He's going to
attack.
make the efficient plays in terms of getting his farm up.
It's very different to like, you compared to like a player who's played a lot of Sven lately, Havos, he would not do this at all. He'd be saving it, looking for towers and kills off of it. Never be thinking about like what's going to get me the most efficient like jungle farming patterns and like the best possible GPM, for example.
Well, Jerax is going to go wandering through the enemy jungle, wants to find out what's going on there.
Yeah. They have a ward down here already, so they can spot out the Sven when he's kind of making those jungle plays at least, and get an idea of like, okay, God Strength is on cooldown, let's try and get maybe more aggressive.
Do you think Puppy's impact has been good enough? I mean, he's interfered a lot, but
he's interfered, but I feel it hasn't really been that much of an impact all in all. I have not so far been sold on the Mirana and the way it's been played. He didn't actually throw any arrows mid at the Death Prophet, and that was kind of key thing you mentioned, like a Death Prophet, you can put some pressure on, this hero will not catch up very well at all.
Yeah, I honestly feel like it was maybe part of the plan, and then they were like, Darkseer can't actually be bot, he needs to leave. Hey wait, Mirana can be bot, and then everything just kind of fell into place, but...
And the other thing was Tusk kind of camped mid too, so you hit an arrow, you could just snowball and keep the hero alive during that period of time. That's the end of that one.
Speaking of Puppy's early game impact, he's going to give Matumberman a little bit of farm.
Not too big a deal, that kill by itself, but it's mid lane where Fata's now getting a bit more aggressive. Doesn't have to worry about an arrow for the time being, and as far as TP rotations go, Sven could TP in, but you don't have like a guarantee of a stun off of this, although he's actually just showing up to the mid lane and looking to keep this one pushed out with Exorcism soon to be wearing off.
I wonder if there's going to be a... Pilot are maxing a Wave of Terror first. They've got Wonder, they've got the Sven. So I feel like it's a matter of time before... I think they're pinging to smoke, to rush.
The classic, yeah. This is such a classic Secret or Envy play, I guess. He used it with the old Cloud9 and something him and Pi know all too well. They look to farm up this stack here first, but right now we'll have a Radiant Observer planted down here, giving vision of this stack, so something that Team Liquid could try and contest.
They saw the smoke. I think they saw the smoke. I think Kuro just pinged that he saw like part of the smoke animation.
Dereks is still standing very close by. Here comes Envy looking to go in. Matumberman. Oh, he dodges the stun. Snowball forward. Can they still get the kill? The Ice Shot comes out as well. Matumberman going aggressive, gets the 2 hero chains, but it's going to leave Tusk to die. They did not have the numbers they'd like, and Sven popping the ultimate. Not a hero that Ember particularly wants to fight with his low armor right now.
You know what? It's still better for Liquid than if Rush had gone down for Tusk to die.
Yeah,
but
it's the Ancients farm as well, and Envy will farm this and then immediately can get back to stacking it some more. I say you can farm it, he's being caught out, and Flame Guard will finish off the kill. The vision to Matumberman, and there's nothing to get rid of this Flame Guard right now. They need some magic damage coming in. He's just going to fight the Bear. There comes the Sleight of Fist. Matumberman gets the Searing Chains up on 2. He's almost killed off the Bear. He will do so, and they take out Lone Druid. He's looking for more. He wants Misery. Oracle will get a double kill. The spam on the Purifying Flames just doing serious work as Secret lose 4 heroes here, and that one Observer Ward scouting out the Ancients, giving them the vision they needed, leading to a number of kills to go Liquid's way, and suddenly Secret very much on the back foot here in the early game.
It's really interesting because I would have thought that maybe Secret would have been onto them. They see the Tusk just camping outside the rush pit, like, oh, they must have seen us, so they've got that ward. But obviously that's not what they thought. Secret probably thought, okay, he's just waiting there, because if they had expected the ward, that never would have happened.
As a result, it's Team Secret who... We talked about how Liquid don't have to get as much done in the early game. It's Secret, and when Secret get fall behind like this, I feel that puts even more pressure onto them. Yeah, the comeback potential of, like, the Lone Druid Sven, there just won't be enough farm and room on the map for them if Liquid can get aggressive. I feel like these are 2 heroes to... Not necessarily that they need to have a great start or anything, but you just don't want both of these heroes to be in farm mode. You want one of them to try and be creating space for the other.
Definitely, and I mean, we can come back to Mirana, which, like, it's the early game is supposed to be like, you hit some arrows, you make some space. She's gonna have ulti soon, so maybe Puppy's ulti can set something up. But the Mirana, as the game becomes more and more like 5v5, is a lot less useful, and you're going up against like a tired Ravage, then even the fact that you have a Darkseer is not really gonna help you come back into the game by winning a team fight. Yeah, honestly, I think Liquid are in a really strong position right now, and
yeah, I mean, Puppy's like ratio of arrow shot at creeps to arrow shot at heroes is currently not looking too good. I think there's been the 1 arrow bottom lane which he shot at a hero, yeah, maybe like 1 other. He's found a lot more creeps with arrows than he has tried to hit heroes. Not that you're going to always be landing them, but at some point you've got to have a like clear purpose for this Mirana pick.
Well, there's the Mirana ulti that should save Kyla die, but
counter kill on this one. Sven gonna go in, throws the stun, does not have the God Swing for now. The arrow will get dodged by the Yule Scepter. Oh no, Fata may still be down to this one, but here comes the God Swing. There's gonna be a false promise as well. Fata can just turn and fight. Has he got the heals to survive this one? It looks like, yes, he's healing. Here comes Tide Ravage onto everyone's Secret. They lose 1, they're gonna lose 2. Weeha goes down as well. Puppy looking for the TP out. He'll survive, but they lose. Well, the more important heroes. All 3 cores go down, just the 2 supports dying. Pilot dies saying, I'm sorry guys, I failed you, I didn't swap save anyone.
That was actually so well played by Liquid, especially Matumberman, I want to say, who like jumps in and waits and waits and waits and then he chains. Like, the timing of everything was so perfect to like buy time for Oracle to get there, to save DP, then Tide gets there, casts the Ravage, Liquid are just completely outplaying Secret right now.
I mean, some of the things like the defensive Yules barely dodging the arrow is just like a very small, like, that's like a timing thing, which was almost somewhat luck, but
Yeah.
even so, it's like, time and time again, Liquid just making so much out of this. This is really cool. Tide can farm Ancients and this neutral camp. He's like actually made a pathway through. I have not seen this one before. I'm not sure if other players have been doing this on the Radiant Tidehunter, but a little pathway that goes through these two camps.
Extra value out of the Iron Talon.
Yeah, Iron Talon Tide, definitely a thing, I guess. He's now farmed up a mech, it looks like, for the old Tidehunter.
I mean, look, I guess no matter where the game goes, there's always going to be a chance that Sven's going to use God Strength, plus like damage from Vengora. Darkseid's going to vacuum everyone, and then we've seen those clips of like one-shot clear vault, but for me it's becoming more and more like that's the game plan, because Mirana's losing a purpose. Even the Lone Druid is, to me, like, he's got a Midas, he's like sitting around farming, not really any game impact right now.
And even if he goes, the Radiance would come up at such a late time, it doesn't feel like it's going to have a big game impact, and if anything, like the Bear will just be an easy unit for the Death Prophet to Spirit Siphon in these fights. So, smoke coming out from Secret. Is this a Roche attempt or something else? It looks like they're headed in there. They've got God Strength, and Envy going to pop it and start fighting. He throws the Wave of Terror, which actually goes over the Observer Ward. Yeah, they could have spotted that Wave of Terror, and I think it looks like here they come. Tidehunter, no Ravage, has got mech here. They're going to pop the Invis. Tide actually walks past. They don't know, it seems.
Well, they might have not been looking at the ward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You have to have your camera over the ward when they throw that Wave of Terror, but it was just amazing that Tide walked past and Secret remained cool. Oh, Sleight of Fist scouts it out. Radiant, Radiant gets nothing. They got a tower. Yeah, they got a tower, and they're just a little bit too late with that Sleight of Fist scout.
Tower is under attack.
That's... I want to say it's still like, it's an oversight by Paladar when they're rushing. You're supposed to wave like in the other direction so that if the ward's there, it doesn't spot them.
Tower is under attack.
And if they were looking at that ward, that was literally the same ward that gave Liquid a huge fight at the Ancients before, so... Yeah, I mean...
Perhaps, because definitely Liquid, even without Ravage, I feel Ty can just walk in there, throw an Anchor Smash, he's got mech. I think Liquid crushed that fight. If they find them in there, and they had 4 heroes at least nearby pushing bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, they got Mirana on the way out. Secret weren't ready to fight despite the fact they got Aegis, so I think that says quite a lot about the situation there. Secret get away with it a little bit lucky. But then again, Liquid have gotten a little bit lucky here and there as well, so I mean, fair is fair. But they're just chasing that wagon.
Cardi, come back here, Cardi! Oh, it looks like he dropped the Dominator, so... Creep for you. Oh, he dominated a new creep actually in the mid lane, so we'll send over a range creep to start stacking those Ancients, but bottom lane where Liquid say, you have an Aegis? Well, we don't really care, we're going to try and push and fight into you until these TPs come in. Ben's TP has got the God Strength, mind control on the front lines, can throw a Ravage here if he'd like to, he gets hit by an arrow, is he going to be the target? Yes, he is for now, pops the mech, holding onto the Ravage, he'll throw it now, catches out 2, make it 3 with that one, and Sven just getting kind of kited in place, no longer has God Strength, he will be coming back up in just a second here. Death Prophet's already killed 1, that's in the top lane, Matumba Man, Fire Remnant out, the Bear getting low, gets taken up by the Anchor Smash, mind control, the new target, but got a Bear for this one. I don't think Liquid are going to be too phased by that as the Searing Chain's out on Puppy. Matumba Man needs to decide if he wants to fight this one or not. Jarek still in the fray. Pulling it out, has an Ice Shard as well as a Walrus Punch soon, and with that Bench Magic Missile, he will go down. Off to the side, it's Kuro. Unable to keep all his teammates alive. He's on the back foot here. This arrow will land. Gets one more nuke off onto Weeha. He's going down to the Urn Charges. He'll die. Oh, Kuro, what a way to go out. With a bang, he gets the kill, and meanwhile, Fata says, not only did I get a kill up here, you're also missing me get your tier 2 tower.
Still a big win for Secret, honestly. It's the best they could have got in the position they're in.
He solo killed the Darkseer, which I guess using the Yules to cancel off the Surge, I imagine, and for Liquid, that overall seems like fight they're super happy about, because they fight 4v4 into an Aegis, trade pretty evenly, kill off the Spirit Bear, and meanwhile Fata getting a tier 2 tower and a kill.
Yeah, because of the trade top, I'd be happy with it, but I don't know. I feel like the fights at the bottom lane on its own, Kudo is sufficiently far ahead to not get that many deaths.
Yeah.
I think it was quite messy. Like, Tide had to use mech just to heal himself at the start, because he kind of got initiated on, and they didn't get to combo the mech with the False Promise, which is also obviously very useful. But yeah, the way it works out, Liquid are still fine, they're still very much in control of this game, and now they're stealing an Ancient stack.
Yeah, I think the ward just expired, but they saw the Sven try and start off on it.
Envy He's fighting with Timberman.
And he knows he can't go for the TP until the steering change is being used. Now the steering change gets used, it may be too late. Won't work. Okay, barely gets out of there. The Timberman just a tiny bit too early on the chains. He tried to wait as long as possible before he went for it, and
middle tower is under
if he
attack.
gets the TP out, perhaps something
Radiant's
that
top
could have been
tower
stopped.
is under
So
attack.
what's the
Middle
reason you
tower
think that he
has
uses the
fallen.
chains and doesn't just wait? Is it like, you know, forcing a decision or something? Like, you either have to TP now
Dire's
or...
bottom tower
I think he
is
thought
under
it was
attack.
probably running out of time since he's near a tier 2 tower. Maybe he's afraid of like a rotation coming in, or... it's hard to say exactly. And very much he kind of calculated in his head and
Dire's
thought the
bottom
damage
tower
was
is
there to
under
get the
attack.
kill, but the
Dire's
Warcry
bottom
with the
tower
bonus
has
armor was what
fallen.
kind of meant his right clicks did
Yeah,
nowhere near enough.
and it's easy for us to say in hindsight, like, oh, it was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
close, he should have waited a bit.
Yeah. You don't like so he probably just didn't calculate for the Warcry. That's what it came down to.
Yep, that makes sense to me. So what are the... Okay, Battle Fury comes out on my Timberman, and the game continues to go Liquid's way very, very clearly.
They've already got the Octarine core up on Death Prophet, so now the uptime for this Exorcism improves and improves, and they've taken every single outer tower, and we're pre-20 minutes into this game, so I gotta imagine next Roshan will probably be going Liquid's way. They'll start hitting these item timings that can prepare them
Radiant's
for a high
bottom
ground
tower
siege, and
is under attack.
Secret in a bit of a tough spot here.
Yeah, I mean, it's even worse than the kind of gold... Well, there's...
Oh, he didn't get the Searing Chains. He missed the combo, a rare miss from
Did they find
Timberman.
Paladar? They found Paladar.
Not going to go for a TP himself. He is invis here. I'm not sure they
Is
had
this
that much
sentry?
protection. Suddenly, well, there's a sentries in the stash of the Tusk.
He was holding a
Highlight
sentry.
die. And a juke. TP now. Oh wow, he gets out.
Alright, so... Yeah, what I wanted to say before is that things look really bad for Secret, and they're actually worse than they look because of, like, the way the drafts are. Secret, we said they're the team that wanted to actually have,
Yeah.
you know, the early momentum, put the early pressure on the enemy team. And we've spoken about how the support Morona has a lot less value at this point in the game. The Lone Druid has a lot less value than it's meant to have. Even the Sven is, like, because it's not a head-on farm, it wants to, like, have S and Y, BKB, various things, so... Secret need some kind of miracle fights, and Liquid sense that, and they just go for the high ground.
Has fallen.
Well, they've got a Guiding Greaves tied on the front line, so really engaging into this is incredibly difficult.
Dire's middle tower
Mind control
is
taking
under
perhaps the
attack.
damage that he bargained for here, and without an Aegis or anything on their side, they're just trying to get maximum value out of this excellent cooldown. They swap back in onto Fata. He can pull even further away. Can the false promise come off? It does do so in time. Fata now getting healed back up. They've got to do some more damage if they want to kill him off. He self-heals as the heal's still continuing. I don't think Fata's going down. No way. He's full HP. That's Oracle for you, and Fata now on the back foot, or is he? More heals coming his way, and there's nothing Secret can do. They've already used 2 buybacks here. The cleave from the Ember Spirit takes out 2 more, and that's 4 dead. Rax is exposed. They've bought enough time for the Exorcism to wear off, but like you said, is this just game? It is. GG, Secret.
I mean,
21 minutes.
Secret went for like a really cheeky little play. I don't know if you saw it, it was the swap into arrow. So
Swapped arrow and like even vacuumed him further back. They tried to get him out of range for the false promise, it looked like, so that someone could basically stop the false promise, but I feel like better yet, they need someone to actually go on the Oracle while they swapped it back.
it's kind of telling of the situation. Secret were like, we need to do this like ingenious, super creative attempt at a kill because that's how bad the situation is, and it doesn't work out. And they're like, okay, well, if we can't even survive by doing those shenanigans, it's game. Let's just call it.
This is Liquid playing at a much faster tempo than you'd normally expect this team. I feel like one of the teams has a higher average match duration than most, but they really just hit all their timings this game. Well, I mean,